Hi Falcons! It's week 6 here on our summer reading series. This week we are going to be learning all about caves. Did you know that Ohio has hundreds of caves across its 88 counties? Caves in Ohio can range from large openings and overhangs with deep recesses, caves with stalactites and stalagmites, or uniquely, the world's largest geode on Put-in-Bay. I want to tell you about a few public caves or caverns that you can go visit with your family. The first one on my list is Ohio Caverns in West Liberty, Ohio. It boasts a huge array of stalactite and stalagmite formations, varied in coloring and variety. Extending down to 103 feet underground, this cave complex boasts 2 miles of surveyed passageways. Our next one is Seneca Caverns in Flat Rock, Ohio. It's a subterranean gallery comprising of 7 explorable levels. More than that is hidden under the waterline and flooded. This cave boasts a crystal clear underground river, a large room extending over 250 feet in length. Seneca Caverns is one of Ohio's largest underground caverns. Third on our list is Old Man's Cave, and you might have heard of this or been to this one. It is a long complex of cave, inset, grottos, overlooks, and gorges that is Ohio's pride and joy in the Hocking Hills State Park. I've explored this cave several times and enjoy bringing new people to see it. It can take 3 to 8 hours exploring this complex. So you might be thinking, Old Man's Cave, who was the old man? Well, he was a 19th century hermit who lived in the area after the War of 1812. His accidental death left him buried in an unfound, unmarked grave somewhere along the trail. The next one is the Olentangy Indian Caverns. It's an underground limestone cave that certainly stays cool all summer. In Delaware, Ohio, expect to find a long echo chamber, the Crystal Room, and Cathedral Hall. Located in northwest Ohio, Indian Trail Caverns boast Sheridan Cave. This is an old cave that has been open to humans since the Clovis Age of Native American. This site is a treasure trove for now extinct megabeasts like giant beavers, flat-faced bear, and giant moose. Very few photos are available, and it's now permanently closed as of February 2019. And last on my list is Crystal Cave in Put-in-Bay. It has the world's largest geode. You know, the kind of crystal that looks like a rock on the outside, and when you bust it open, you get to see the crystal inside. This one is 35 feet in diameter. I remember visiting a cavern with my grandma many years ago, and it had crystal clear rivers and pools. It had stalactites, stalagmites that were super glittery. It felt really cool underneath, and it was really slippery. I would love to go visit more. Let me know if you have visited any caves or caverns, or if you would like to in the future. So as you guessed, this week we're learning about caves, caverns. And before we read our book on caves, I want to complete another KWL chart. You might remember this from when we read Why Do Dogs Bark? So you will need to grab a piece of paper, divide it into 3 sections. One for K, what we already know about caves and caverns. One for W, what we want to know about caves. And one for L, what we learned. And that one is for after we finish reading. So go ahead and grab that, and I'm going to grab mine and start dividing it up into sections, and I'll flip my camera around so we can do this together. Alright, first things first, you want to turn your paper horizontally, and then I just like to make 2 lines so it's split up into 3 sections. And I like to make a line across the top so I can write my K, W, and my L. So the K, we are going to write down all the things that we want to know about caves. So one of the questions I have is, oh, I'm sorry, you know what? That's the W, what we want to know. K is for what we already know. So, sorry, I got a little bit confused there. But what do you already know about caves? So, one thing that I already know is that they have rivers and pools. You can write this down if you don't know anything about caves, and that's okay if you don't. Or you can write down your own information and things that you know about caves. I know that caves can be deep underground. And I know that they have stalactites and stalagmites. I'm not going to tell you what this means. You might already know what they are, but I'm going to save it for when we read the book. I'm just going to write down 3 things that I already know about caves or caverns. I do know a lot more about it, but I just want to keep this simple. And now, since I got it confused earlier, the middle section is where you write down your questions. So I'm just going to put a question mark up here so I remember for the next time. Middle section is for the questions. So, what do you want to know about caves? One of the things I want to know is what temperature it is in a cave. I'm going to put a little caret here. What is the temperature inside a cave? I keep using the language cave and cavern. I want to know what's the difference between a cave and a cavern. And remember, we might read our book Caves and we might not get questions or answers to our questions. So I might have to do some more research or look on Google or another search engine to find my answers if they're not in the book. The last thing I want to know is, how is a cave formed? I'm sure you all have many other questions. I'd love to hear what they are in the comments, so just write those down, or you can email me. If you don't feel like doing that, just tell somebody nearby. And then remember, we will save the L section for after we are done reading our book. So, I'm getting ready to read our cave book. I want to keep in mind my questions and try to look for the answers while I'm reading. So I'm looking for the temperature, differences between a cave and a cavern, and how is a cave formed. So I kind of have that in the back of my mind, and a light bulb is going to go off when I hear any of these key words while I'm reading. So I'm going to look for temperature, cave, cavern, and formed or formation. And you can do the same thing too. You can underline or highlight maybe some keywords that you want to remember to look for to help you answer your questions. I'm going to move this aside, and then I'll put our book underneath so we can get ready to read. Here is our book called Caves. It is a Smart Words reader book. There are a lot of different books on different topics that are Smart Word reader books, and I love these. They have lots of really rich vocabulary words, so you can look those up on Scholastic if you want to buy your own. There are actually 20 vocabulary words in this book. That's why I'm not going to preview them beforehand, just because I don't want to take up time because we'll talk about them during reading. This is by Judith Bowers Stamper. We have a table of contents, and if you remember from week 5, this is called a what, or this is an example of a text feature. So while I read, I want you to keep your eye out for different text features. Our Tiger book only had a few. We saw photographs, captions, we had a glossary, a table of contents, and a map, but I have a feeling that this book might have more text features, so we'll be able to see more examples. So make sure that you are looking for those. We have a couple of chapters. Chapter 1, Deep Dark Places. Chapter 2, Underground Wonders. And Chapter 3, Exploring a Cave. This book also has a lot of interactive activities, so I'll be stopping periodically so we can complete those together. I'm already seeing some text features as soon as I opened up this page. So before I start reading, I want you to point out any text features that you see. The first thing that my eye went to was these yellow highlighted words. So I have a feeling that those are our vocabulary words. Okay, they clearly are bringing your attention to those words, and they even have what they mean here. I see a photograph with a caption. I have a heading. Okay, so lots of text features. I'm excited. Chapter 1, Deep Dark Places. They are deep. They are dark. They are full of mystery. Caves are some of Earth's most amazing places. A cave is a large hole in the ground or in the side of a hill or mountain. It is one of the landforms that make up the surface of the earth. A cave can be a narrow tunnel, or it can be a huge room. A cave might be found under the ground, inside an ocean cliff, or buried in volcanic rock. It takes hundreds of thousands of years for nature to create a cave. A natural process called weathering forms most caves. Weathering is the wearing away of a substance by wind or water. I told you from our KWL chart that I was looking for how our caves formed. That was one of my questions. And I actually saw my keyword, forms. And right next to it was a vocabulary word, weathering. So weathering is how a cave formed. I already have an answer to one of my questions. So that's pretty neat, and I'll have to remember to come back to this page when I write down what I've learned. A cave is a large hole in the ground or in the side of a hill or mountain. Landform, a feature that makes up the surface of the earth. Weathering, the wearing away of a substance by wind or water. I noticed too that all of these definitions were right next to the words. So oftentimes when you're reading, if you don't know a word, you can use the context around it. So right here it says, it is one of the landforms, okay? And we know a landform is a feature that makes up the surface of the earth. Cave is a hole in the side of a hill or a mountain. So it tells us right here what it is. And then our picture here, this huge underground cavern is located in the Dordogne region in France. I don't know if I said that right. Dordogne? I'll have to look that one up. So bear with me. This is real reading, people. Lots of mess ups and mistakes. But we'll do the best we can. Most caves are under the ground, but caves can be found in other places as well. A sea cave is formed by the pounding of ocean waves against sea cliffs. Sea caves are found along coastlines all around the world. The longest sea cave is Painted Cave on California's Santa Cruz Island. It is 1,215 feet or 370 meters long. Sea caves are also homes for animals. Thousands of sea lions live in sea lion caves along the coast of Oregon. And remember, I told you not to skip over these captions. Okay, don't just move to the next page because it holds important information. So in the picture here it says, this sea lion may make its home in a sea cave. And down here it says, these sea lions are in a cave along the coast of Oregon. So, how do sea caves form? There's my key word again. Powerful waves attack weak spots in the rocky cliffs along oceans. Slowly they begin to weather the rocks. Over time, a crack opens in the cliff. The waves wash away loose rocks. The crack grows larger and larger. Often, softer rock is inside the cliff. The waves carry it away and leave behind a hollow cave. Do you remember what this text feature is called here? We kind of have a heading, Formation of a Sea Cave. This is called a diagram. And it gives us labels too. We have a sea cave, the waves, weathering, and the mouth. A sea cave is a cave formed by the pounding of ocean waves against sea cliffs. And we learned that because it said it right next to our highlighted word. A glacier cave forms in a huge sheet of moving ice called a glacier. Glaciers are found in polar regions or mountain ranges. A glacier cave starts when the sun melts some of the ice on the glacier's surface. The melted ice, called meltwater, seeps down through cracks in the glacier. The meltwater collects in a stream that cuts through the inside of the glacier. As it flows, the stream carves out tunnels and ice caverns. Our photograph here says a glacier cave has tunnels and rooms made of ice. That would be cool to see. A lava tube is a cave formed in volcanic rock. When a volcano erupts, hot melted rock called lava shoots out. It runs down the sides of the volcano in fiery rivers. The surface of the lava cools and hardens. It turns into a solid rock. Underneath the surface, the hot melted lava still gushes along. It cuts out a long tube that looks like a subway tunnel. When all the lava flows away, the lava tube is left behind. This lava tube in Hawaii looks like a long subway tunnel. I'm going to skip our vocabulary words because it already told us what they mean. We had glacier and lava tube. Read each definition. Choose the correct smart word. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so you can see this activity. It is a large hole in the ground or in the side of a hill or mountain. Is it a cave or a glacier? That is a cave. Number 2. It is a cave formed after a volcano erupts. Is it a sea cave or a lava tube? Think about what you already know about volcanoes. Yeah, it's a lava tube. Number 3. It is the wearing away of a substance by wind or water. Is it weathering or a landform? That is weathering. I kind of remember wearing away, weathering, they both start the same. Number 4, it is a huge sheet of ice. Is it a sea cave or a glacier? That Answer is glacier. Number 5. It is a feature that makes up the surface of Earth. Is it a lava tube or a landform? That is a landform. And our last one, it is a cave formed by the pounding of ocean waves against sea cliffs. Is it a glacier or a sea cave? The answer is sea cave. So I want you to do this next activity with somebody nearby. Oh, let me focus here. Talk like a scientist. Compare these two pictures. Talk about them using smart words. So these vocabulary words that we just went over, cave, landform, weathering, sea cave, glacier, and lava tube, I want you to look at this picture and compare them. What's the same about them? What's different? Okay, comment below with something that's the same or different between these two pictures. And next I have some facts for you. Record breaker. Sea Lion Cave in California is the largest sea cave in the world. It is as tall as a 12-story building and as long as a football field. Did you know the Blue Grotto on the island of Capri in Italy is one of the most famous sea caves in the world? If you visit the cave by boat, you have to lie down on the boat's bottom. It is the only way you'll fit through the low, narrow opening of the cave. It's kind of scary. That's amazing. Sea lions aren't the only animals that live in sea caves. If the water is deep enough, sharks like the leopard shark will hang out in a sea cave. So this picture right here, it says, this is Neptune's grotto on the island of Capri in Italy. In this photo, a leopard shark may find its way inside a sea cave. We are going to stop here at chapter 2, so you'll have to wait to learn more about underground wonders until our next video.